We talked previously about the right-wing freakout over gas stoves, saying Biden is going to ban gas stoves, and one individual saying Biden can pry my gas stove out of my cold, dead hands. Don't tread on me. And very strange. The Biden administration came out, said, no, we're not banning gas stoves. And Jared Moskowitz, a Democratic freshman congressman, is kind of, and has been for a while now, it's really funny, making fun of many within the GOP for freaking out over this, pointing it out to be a manufactured controversy, as so many of these things are. And he's been doing so in a way that is hilarious, very satirical. He's pretending to also be very concerned about his gas stove, and in so doing, making fun of this whole absurd manufactured controversy. So we'll get to a clip. We looked at one in the past of him doing this, and I'll show you one from more recently. I just love it. But before we do that, in case you missed some of this, the quick summary is that an individual in the Consumer Product Safety Commission was discussing any options being on the table to address the fact that gas stoves emit harmful emissions. And so that would be something the Consumer Product Safety Commission is concerned with, and will try to regulate gas stoves, the production of gas stoves, to make sure you're not being harmed, you're not having your chances of getting cancer increased, as is currently happening because of these emissions, because of your gas stove. And if certain types of gas stoves can't do that, then they shouldn't be getting sold. And so because of that, that's not banning all gas stoves. It's regulating the industry. Very reasonable. Of course, we want our government to protect us from things being in our homes that harm us, but some disagree with that, I guess. And again, the Biden administration has said multiple times, no, we're not banning gas stoves. God forbid we regulate them a little to make you safer. But Republicans are bravely fighting against Biden, even though Biden's not fighting on this, in this historic moment, and introducing legislative action to protect your gas stove.
That is why I introduced the Save Our Gas Stoves Act to block this radical, out-of-touch rule that eliminates the types of stoves and features of stoves that consumers like.
Wow. I mean, why else would we have congressmen and women other than to do things like this, to really work in our interest on a daily basis and address the issues that matter? So Jared Moskowitz very nicely points out how absurd this is by playing into it and pretending that as we discuss this legislation, I'm very concerned.
Obviously, we have one, not just one, but two gas stove bills. So my second amendment would give gas stoves, I think, the honor that they deserve. A stainless steel 6-burner double oven in Statuary Hall. We have statues there that are made of marble and bronze, but we don't have anything of stainless steel, and so I think this could be the first one. Amendment number 3 helps ensure that the hours of hard work do not go by the wayside on this issue, and so I propose creating a position in the U.S. Department of Energy for the sole purpose of fighting the war on gas stoves. This amendment would create this position in the department, the Supreme Allied Gas Commander, a position that young boys and girls can one day aspire to. Just as they're sitting in class, maybe reading a book, hopefully a book that wasn't banned, or sitting in class, hopefully being safe, they could think about being one day the Supreme Allied Gas Commander. Now switching over to H.R. 1615, this amendment honors...
Okay, so you get it. I love it because you have a few options when engaging with absurd manufactured controversies, distractions like this one. You can either seriously respond and say, come on, really, this is the issue you're going to pretend to be concerned with. This is the distraction you've settled on, and call it out directly in a serious manner. Or you can just ignore the whole thing. Sometimes that's the option, whether it be the Eminem story, oh, they changed the animation of Eminem and they've gone woke, or Little Mermaid has gone woke, or gas stoves are gonna go woke, as we're talking about now, or what else? Target went woke, Bud Light went woke, Chick-fil-A went woke. You can just go on. And one of the options is to ignore Dr. Seuss went woke. And that is a good option, probably the best for your own well-being mentally to just ignore some of this. The third is to make fun of it, as Jared Moskowitz is doing here, and point out by pretending to take it seriously, pointing out how absurd it is. And at the end of the day, while it's very funny, credit to Jared Moskowitz, love it, love it, love it. But at the end of the day, it's enraging, because why do they do this? Why do they say Biden's going to ban meat or whatever was one of the controversies they made up? Because if they only engage, and by they I'm referring to the especially political far right, this MAGA brand, but just generally the GOP as a whole, if they were to engage only seriously on policy issues, they'd lose over and over and over again in elections. Because on policy, and this isn't my opinion, this isn't my own political bias playing into this, on policy, polling shows Democrats have way more popular policy positions. The majority of Americans support their policy agenda. So when you're usually, at least economically, your economic agenda is, hey, voters who mostly aren't really wealthy, we're going to go get into power and help the wealthy become more wealthy and the powerful become more powerful. Vote for us. That's not going to work. So instead, you got to make up things to freak out about. You got to fearmonger about CRT. You have to demonize groups of people 24/7 who are already so demonized. You have to go and create issues to then pretend like you're solving, because what you're actually doing, the impactful actions you take, besides all the demonization, all of that, just not at all working in the interest of your voters, your constituents. But if they can be distracted, if they can be thinking about, oh, I'm so angry about Bud Light, or I'm so angry about gas stoves, maybe they won't realize that that's the case, and they'll vote for you. And that's the whole thing here. And as a reminder, Jared Moskowitz has been doing this bit for a while now. This was a past clip we looked at from him.
You know, and it's warm, and you're in the kitchen, and you stare into the knobs of your beautiful stainless steel beauty. I got it. I get the bravado. We can pry your gas stove from your cold, dead hands, or give me my gas stove, or give me death. You know, I have a 6-burner double oven range that sits on legs. I mean, I miss her right now as we're talking about it. And so I think, because it's a two-party system.
It's so good. I saw him tweet out one time a photo of his stove, his gas stove, and he was like, I'm leaving, saying my goodbyes, you know, gonna miss her, or something like that. Really, really funny. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.